electronic harassment, how it's really done, and defense methods. Disclaimer, I am not a perpetrator. I'm not involved with their program except for obviously being a targeted individual myself. I have had time to deduce their methods and compile them into a working model. This model is not complete, but it is very likely the most accurate you will find anywhere. Obviously, they're not going to expose what they're doing and how they're doing it. The purpose of this video is to provide a functioning model to help you understand the electronic harassment and how to protect yourself against it. I slapped it together really quick, so I'm sorry for any spelling errors. The important thing is that I get this information out there and available to you. So in the simplest terms, we know that the target is being assaulted by a weapon system. Click the link below to access the weapon system video. Some basic knowledge of physics is required and will be included in the weapon system video. There are several different steps between the weapon system and the target that need explanation. So let's just get right to it. First of all, the weapon system utilizes a physical mapping program. This will be explained in further detail in the weapon system video. But what you need to know for now is that the mapping program is used to locate and zap, as we call it, the target. While the system can zap just about anywhere that the mapping program can view, such as appliances, thermostats, etc., I'm going to explain exactly how the zapping occurs upon the target's body and how it's done so effectively. If you're a targeted individual, you are being routinely poisoned. This poison is a mixture of substances with various functions. This model shows how the poison breaks through layers of natural defense and have the desired effect on the target. So here we have the basic model. Again, I'd just like to reiterate that the weapon system can affect or zap you without you being poisoned, but the poison itself amplifies the effect hundreds of times. In fact, if you weren't being poisoned, you may barely even notice the weapon system at all. The perps, or organized crime syndicate responsible for what you're going through if you're a targeted individual, they manufacture, collect, and mix the poison for deployment. Arresting the criminals responsible would dismantle the entire program and everyone would live happily ever after. But until that day comes, we're going to have to find other ways to protect ourselves, and that is what this video is. The first thing they do is bring the poison to you. Usually inconspicuous perps, that is perps that do not make themselves known as perps, and that is the outer layer of exposure. You're exposed to the poison. Secondly, the poison is mixed with a transdermal substance, a substance that can go through your skin, which brings it into the bloodstream. Now, I don't know exactly what could do this. If you maybe are a medical expert and have some ideas, please leave them in the comments as to what kind of chemicals could be doing this. Thirdly, the neurotoxin is used to bring the poison into the nervous system. Something like LSD or similar drugs, perhaps even rattlesnake venom might be used. And essentially your nervous system is what you use to feel. Fourthly, the electromagnetic aggregate. This is basically, once in the nervous system, another substance that reacts to the electromagnetic waves, something like a colloid or an aerosol, like many thousands of nanochips, maybe a metal or silicon particles shaped to act as nanocapacitors, is essentially what I'm talking about here. And lastly, the particles accumulate into the targeted organ or tissue of the targeted individual, and they vibrate to cause tissue damage. Now I'm going to get into practical ways of defending yourself. So I've broken down the defense methods into the various steps of defense or layers that I explained previously. So firstly, as you know, the perps bring the poison to the target. You need to be careful with things like handshakes, bumping elbows with strangers, etc. Don't touch strangers. Don't touch objects controlled by strangers. That's things like money, strollers, bags. They even use their kids. They'll rub the substance on their kids like shoes and then try to get their kids to kick you or something like that if you have exposed legs. Also, things like door handles, food, etc. Don't touch objects the perps may have access to. They'll just leave it there for you, like little Easter eggs for you to find. Also, be careful areas that you may be barefoot. Now moving down to, obviously you can't avoid it all the time. So what you can do is protect your skin. As I've said before, gloves, maybe protect your hands, elbows, calves. Be careful if you're barefoot. The obvious stuff. Try to wear long sleeve clothing and pants rather than shorts. Thirdly, once the toxin is in your system, you can try to detox it out. What I use are certain products from, that was the door chime, sorry about that. Iodine from Infowars.com. That could be, nascent iodine is the best one, the X2. Also, flaxseed oil is helpful because it cleanses the area around the blood-brain barrier. Deep Cleanse is another Infowars product that I found to be effective. Also, basically anything that has a positive detoxing effect, like detoxing tea, niacin, or whatever. If you have any other remedies, please leave them in the comments. Fourthly, once it's in your nervous system, all you can really do is try to shield it or use countermeasures to divert the malicious waves away from your body. For shielding, I recommend using copper with a dielectric insulator, basically a substance that's non-conductive, in between the copper and another metal such as aluminum or steel perhaps. I have heard, although I've never tried using a radio jammer, I've heard they are effective. But if you get a radio jammer, you want to make sure that it has the broadest spectrum available. And you want to be aware of, do you need a battery? Are you going to be traveling with it? Is it plug-in only? That sort of thing. Also, an interesting thing I found is from humanfirewall.com. They have several products ranging from a $700 home product. It's basically a cone. It looks like a pyramid. To pocket-sized products. What I found is most effective is their ray chips. It's basically these tiny little circles that you put onto your cell phone, and I've found that these are the most effective product available. You don't want to put them too close to your body because what I find is they actually attract the malicious waves to them, so you got to kind of play with the distance. And basically, to mitigate the damage that's already been done, I recommend using DNA Force, also from Infowars.com. And something like fish oil, flaxseed oil also is like the fish oil in that it is very high in omega fatty acids, and these are the best things to repair your tissue. And that is basically it for the defense part. I just want you to know that I hope these methods help. Please try them. The best way is going to be in different combinations for the best effect. If you do find that they help you, I ask that rather than recluse yourself into just trying to live a normal life, I ask that you use your newfound relief to fight the enemy. That being pursuing legal action or spread awareness. After all, everyone is a target. But if you're being harassed, you're in beta test and you have been selected because there's something about you that the enemy is afraid of. I suggest you find out what it is, what your talent is, and take the fight to them. So we're basically living in the pre-matrix, and they plan on using their successes to unfold more and more tyranny. And that concludes the video. Please subscribe, like, comment, donate, and you have my personal guarantee that all money made from these videos will go towards future research development and updated videos. Thank you. Live long and prosper.